Welcome to our interview with Notes of Dissent. I am AJ here. It is Sunday, October 12th. Riding solo today in the host chair, but we've got three members of Notes of Dissent here. Thank you guys so much for making the time. We've got Burb on the line. Burb, how you doing?
Howdy, folks. I'm living the American dream.
Hell yeah. We also got Nathan. What's going on, man?
Heyo, nice to be here.
And we got Lemon here too. Hey, Lemon.
Hello, I'm here.
Awesome. All right. So this is an interview that I've personally been wanting to do for a little while because I am absolutely in love with Notes of Dissent. I think the work that you guys do is spectacular. I just wanted to learn, a little bit more about the kind of history and the genesis of your organization. And if, someone on the street came up to you and be like, what is Notes of Dissent and how did it get started? How would you answer that question? And Burb, I know that this is kind of more or less your brainchild. So I'll throw that question to you first.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking at my very first Reddit post I made on the Denver protest subreddit 5 months ago. And all I did was I put a meme out there that said, when fascism is here, but your only weapon is a clarinet. And basically, it was just a call out post. I wrote that I would love to have a marching band at the next big protest. DM me if you can play an instrument. And then I basically went on a little mini trip that weekend. And then like Monday morning when I looked at I did make a Discord before completely bouncing out for the weekend. I'm like, oh, maybe like 15 people will show up. There was like at least 30 people in that Discord, and I had like 50 pings from people wanting mod rights and everything. I wish it was a more romantic story of how I came up with the idea, but I just had my old high school flute, and I wanted to make noise at the government, and other people did as well.
There was also the other part too of it where like the idea had been kind of floating around on Reddit for
That's
a
true.
minute. And then literally the only thing different besides the meme was that you created the Discord, and then it just took off because it's like we had an actual space to coordinate.
Yeah, because like I did at least make a Discord, and apparently that was the magic, that was the special ingredient that was needed. Yes,
Yeah.
And that's what it took, because that's how it started. I needed a shit post and be angry at the government, and here we are now.
Amongst us, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, one thing that I've been curious about, because I've, kind of seen in my peripheral vision this organization start from, as you were saying, a Reddit post, a kind of germ of an idea, and it feels like it's just shot into the stratosphere. How many members are actually currently in Notes of Dissent?
The Discord has about 300 people, but I would say, but we have a lot of like different people from different orgs that hop into the Discord to help coordinate what they would like for us to do at their event and so forth.
A lot of lurkers too.
I would probably say active people who have actually attended practices and events would maybe be a grand total of 35 people. That doesn't mean 35 all at once.
Higher. I'd say probably like 40, 45 total of like between the different, because like I know there's been a couple of folks that have gone to like, the first No Kings protest or the whatever that was, that first weekend was, the 4th of July, I think, when it I wasn't there at that one, but I know that there were a couple of people that I know personally that were there that haven't been to one since, but are still somewhat interested in like still keeping up with the band and whatnot.
So yeah, that can be fair.
So you have a core kind of membership of between 30 and 40 folks who are out there when you're doing events. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think has contributed to the growth of the organization? Nathan, I'm curious what you think about how has the organization been able to effectively go from nothing to a, presence at so many of these different events so quickly?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the biggest part of it is, a few folks in the beginning of, got on the ground floor, some folks that have, put a lot of their time and effort into it, and who are just awesome, leadership people. Some people who even aren't in the leadership that even hopped in a little bit later, who just, they love the idea, they love the concept, and then, obviously we built a community around it, and they want to help out with the community and all of those aspects. And so we just have like this core group of maybe, I don't know, like everyone contributes something, but there's like maybe 5 or 6 people in particular that kind of go around. We could even up that to like 10 people that just, really have this as a passion, and you can see it, and we're just able to kind of take it and roll with it, right? And just build it from the ground up. And I think, without those folks, it would not be where it is today. And how quickly we were able to spin it up and everything like that. And I think also part of it too, in terms of how we got as many members as we did is like, a lot of people are looking for ways to organize right now, looking for ways to get out and feel like they're doing something. And, a lot of folks, played band in high school or in college and maybe, haven't touched their instrument in, 20 years or whatever, or maybe they're still playing it to this day and have never stopped, but they have this passion, this skill set that they want to be able to bring to the scene and be able to inspire people and play music in a sense where, not only are they helping with the whole protest scene and getting a message out there, but they're also building that community and talking and doing these positive actions with like-minded people, and making new friends. And a lot of that is really appealing to folks, and it's been just a real great ride from the beginning to all the way up to now, and looks like it's going to continue to be that way too.
I will say too, oh sorry, I think Burp has been very clear at the kind of point of this band. I don't know if I ever introduced myself in this regard, but I'm a bit over halfway through my jazz performance degree, and there's a whole lot of bands that are you can't even find a online audition. You have to know someone and then ask to audition, and then you won't get in. So, but this has been a very open group. It just says, hey, are you bad at your instrument? That's great. Come play with us. It's very focused on, if you want to come do the action, all you need is to be able to even just hit 2 drums together and sing along to a song.
Okay. That's also it takes, there's not a benchmark to clear. There's not a hurdle to clear that you have to, have this many years of instrument experience. Anyone who plays is welcome to join. Okay.
Nothing like that. You could make the argument that the benchmark is, can you read music and put those music roughly into notes that approximate what's on the page? But anything more complicated than that, I mean, even that, we have rehearsals. We'll teach you, we'll get there.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a great way to build out community and to make people feel like they are, not even feel like they are actually making a difference. Because like I said, I feel like since you guys have kind of been an organization, Notes of Dissent is something that people recognize when they're out at protests, and there's something that people, oh, those are the folks with the instruments. I'm curious, and Bert, maybe you can speak to this. What has been the reception of Notes of Dissent by the public at large when you're at these events? Are people down with that? I'll throw that question actually, because Burb just fell off as I wonder. Maybe she didn't like that question, which is fair. I'll throw that to either one of y'all. What has the reception been like?
The reception so far has been pretty good. The thing I've been worried about at all is kind of if there's any way we could accidentally disrupt the message or kind of distract whatever event we're at from the main message. But we've been doing a very good job of picking politically charged songs, and all of the organizers seem to love it as well as all of the people. It's kind of one of the big reasons I think we've grown, is that a ton of people who play music see a marching band walking around, and they go walk up and say hi, and then Burb or Nathan or me or someone else goes and hands a sheet here, you can join our Discord server and come to the next rehearsal. And I think at large, I think the public has been a big fan of random music.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I could imagine.
I'm
Do you guys
back.
have working relationships. You're back. Welcome back. The man couldn't keep us down. We have a joke that every time a member of the show drops from a call, it's Jared Polis or Palantir trying to interrupt us
That's
from
right.
doing work.
That's good.
So I have to expect.
I was going to say, I do have a comment on the question, which was about the public's reception.
Yeah, please.
Oh, I just know that in particular, I've read, we have our social media, and I'll browse through the comments and stuff. I've been getting a lot of various comments, oh, we love having live music, such and such, and especially during the march versus just at the location. Because I know a lot of people, like, especially when it was hot in the summer, people be like, oh yeah, it's so hot. It's midway through the march. I'm just going to go home. I'm done. But then they'll chill out, and then they'll hear us play. People like, okay, I got actually new energy to keep going. It's not just because, oh, music is fun, but it's a literal morale booster to keep people eye on the prize. You don't get distracted by the other nonsense and that you're tired. Like, no, I can finish this. I can continue this. Music has that power.
Yeah, and actually, that I was going to ask. Kind of a broader question is, I'm curious to hear each of your input on this. What do you think the role of music, either at a specific protest or in a broader social movement context, is? Like, how do you see your organization locking in or fitting in with, again, either like a specific action or as part of the broader movement writ large?
Honestly, like, I think it's a big morale thing, going back to what Burp said just now, which is like, in a couple of different ways. One, like, sure, during the march, get people to keep going and keep the energy up. That's like one aspect. But also, maybe people think like, oh, going to a protest, like, I'll be honest, to me, like, it's not the most fun thing in the world. I'd rather be doing a lot of other things, but out of a sense of duty, I know that I need to go to these things. It's a lot more fun when I know that I'm going to be hearing some badass music, right? And some awesome, like, energy inspiring songs and things like that I get to sing along with and hear. And so like the two sides of that is, like, at the protests, we can inspire the morale and, keep the energy up. But then also we can inspire people to maybe want to come to these protests a little bit more, who might be a little bit more burnt out or something, because they know that they're going to get the opportunity to hear us again and to, play along with the music or sing along or just, jam to it.
Yeah. And it's the power of live music too. I mean, we all love our songs on a speaker, but we all know there's something magical about, there's a person in front of you playing right now on their horn. There's something magical about that.
Yeah. And there's also the other aspect that I kind of just want to bring up as like a little fun teaser, which is that, there is something to be said about, like, oh, we're playing music and that can kind of disrupt some of the, like, chanting and things like that. And like the call and response stuff, which, it can. We have something that we're working on right now with our drum line, though, that should be rather interesting, and a couple of other pieces that we're looking at right now. So a little, look behind the curtain here for what might be coming soon. Some potential, like, drumline cadences that tie in really well to, like, some very specific chants or different chants that we can put in with that, and we can kind of, like, lead on that a little bit too. Going forward, that's going to be something that we might start to look at here in the coming months as like a potential thing as well.
Oh, nice. That's a fun teaser. Do you guys have, like, working relationships with organizers of the protests? Like, do you liaison with 5051 or PSL or any of the folks who are putting on these organizations to kind of, like you were saying, mitigate the potential of the music and the chants working in opposition or other, or to, like, coordinate on the routes of the march or anything like that?
Yes. I know we have a few people that are connected to different organizations, but in general, excuse me, during a march, we try to be literally the last group going. We want to be the last because we always know that the people leading the chants are typically in the front of the march, and we don't want to interrupt anything going on in the front of the march. And then, if it's a small march, we'll be respectful to when there's chanting and when there's a break, and we'll play during when there's a break, right? If it's a big march like that, No Kings in June in particular, we led up the back, and we did that, A, just so we wouldn't interrupt the chants, but also B, we keep that energy up like you were speaking to earlier, and they requested that of us, and it's been really great because now we actually have people saying, hey, I want to be at the back of the march, not the front.
It's like back of the bus, back of the march.
But seriously, I've heard a lot of people say that because like there's a lot of people who enjoy like chanting. I like a chant, but you know, I don't want to chant the entire time. So it offers that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think the mix between music and chanting also gives people the chance if they want to sing along versus go back up to the front, come back to the back.
Well, and I'd like to talk, AJ, I'd like to talk back to that point about what like purpose we serve in the march. I was a few days ago, you heard about all these people in frog suits up in, I think, Portland. Yeah.
I love it.
I think
it's give me ribbit,
yeah,
give me duck.
It's kind of something along, I think we have an important purpose in the overall movement in that sort of way. It's a very like, this isn't a bunch of like leftist terrorists or anything. This isn't an awful march going to burn down your building. This is people getting out and saying something. How can you put a whole marching band on the screen and say that they're here to kill your children or something? It does a good job of kind of giving like showing that this is about fun and making the world better and having people enjoy stuff rather than the very, like you can put bad music over a crowd of anyone walking around at night and make it look terrifying. But it's harder to do that if there's a band involved.
Okay. Yeah. And you bring up an interesting point there. And I'm curious, what is the kind of political makeup, if you could speak to that, of your organization? Because I'd have to imagine, you know, it's somebody who would want to be out in this current climate, going to a march or going to a protest. But if you had to, I realize this might be a tough question because it's a disparate group, but if you had to kind of identify what the political makeup of your organization is, how would you identify that?
Yeah. I mean, there is kind of two ways to answer that. One is with the mission statement as like as an organization, like where are we? But then also like individually with all of our members, where do we sit, right? There's kind of two ways to that. And I think if you want to bring that the mission statement up, I can talk on the members really quick, which is basically that, you know, we had from the beginning this idea that like, look, we want to accept anyone whose mission is against fascism, right? And making sure that not only are we accepting members who, you know, maybe some of them are communists, you know, maybe some of them don't think communism is a good idea, maybe they're socialists, maybe they're whatever, like, you know, leftist, liberal capitalists. It doesn't really matter. If they're against fascism, we want them here. And we don't want to necessarily distance ourselves from them. And one of the other big parts of that is also with the organizations that we work with. We want to say, like, look, we can work with any organization too that, you know, shares that value of being against fascism. That doesn't necessarily mean that we endorse their particular viewpoints. That doesn't mean we necessarily agree with them on the minutia of anything, but we're willing to work towards a goal, and we know to make allies in that situation, right? And it's kind of the same with our members.
So you guys are the actual Antifa. You are anti-fascist.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
The Antifa band. I love it.
Although for what it's worth, we did have a little bit of a thing about that when we posted a social media post, and some of the members of the band didn't like the connotation. They were afraid of being targeted. So we did have to go and change the wording on that. But, you know, in general, yes, we are by the literal definition. Yeah. But we maybe not announcing it on social media was a bit the wrong move, just in case. But, you know.
Yeah, you could say we're kind of like the band against fascism. We're not like Antifa band. We're the band that doesn't like fascism.
We're banding together.
I like that, yeah.
Banding together against fascism.
Yeah, no, that's a very fair point. Something, and yeah,
Palantir.
Yeah, Palantir, man, they got shooters out here for sure.
Again.
So, but tell me about this mission statement. I'm curious. I'm curious
Yes.
about kind of where y'all ended on that and the process of building that out as
Man,
an
Brett was the one that
organization.
was grabbing that. Fred, hold on. Give me just
Uh,
1 second. Let's
if
see
you
if I
want to
can
pull it
grab
up,
it.
we've been having for a while, we've been having weekly meetings as a band, and that mission statement has gone through anyone who joins the Discord weekly meeting. For how long has that mission statement been in the works, Nathan?
Pretty much from the beginning, if I'm remembering right. Like
That
we've
sounds
kind of
about
just
right.
had it.
So,
Yeah, it's been in the back burner for a while, but with we're kind of officially starting to get to the organization point where we're an actual nonprofit 401(c)(3. And so for that, we needed to have this sort of thing nailed down. So actually, yeah, I can actually read it here. I just pulled it up. So our mission is to amplify the voices of marginalized communities and activist organizations in the fight against fascism and government oppression.
Ah, okay. Was that a difficult consensus to arrive at? Did that, because I imagine in any group, especially groups, I think on the broadly defined left, it can be like herding cats sometimes.
Yes.
Um, yeah, was that a hard fought?
Well, yeah, it was actually rather straightforward, believe it or not, for the
Yeah.
mission statement in particular. We had a little bit of like, discussion around the exact wording of it, but for the most part, the information that it's trying to convey was never something that was under scrutiny. It was just the wording of it. So that I think broadly as a whole, even with all of our disparate members and herding cats, like you put it, like we all know that we're aligned in this purpose, and we all kind of have an idea that's fairly aligned on like what the band is striving for, right? What we're trying to do as an organization. And I think that was actually one of the easiest parts to get done was the mission statement.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, honestly, we got a good squad of people. We do, and there's nobody who ever will agree 100% on everything, but on the big points that are important, we are pretty much all on the same page. I think it helps that one of the first songs that we started playing was the Palestinian national anthem. So that sets the stage right then and there about who is welcome in our group.
Sure.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to weed out folks who would otherwise, tell a lot about. People would be down with that. How do you guys pick your music? What's the process? Do you tailor the music for each individual action, or what does that process look like?
So we started off with about maybe 4 or 5 songs that we picked, but going forward, we basically have a forum where people can submit song ideas and the scores to accompany the song, and then we'll have a vote with all the submissions that people have submitted. And now we actually have a pretty good list.
Oh yeah.
I can, hold on. I just wrote it this morning when I was making a thing.
I was gonna say we got like 25 songs or something like that.
yeah, it's pretty full. I used to be pretty happy because I had all of them memorized, but not any.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh no,
their
yeah.
back does. Yeah.
Yeah, so
like,
we have
a third of
oh,
them memorized maybe. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying our current like list of like literally everything that we're playing, including what's at our concert on the 25th, is American Idiot, Holiday, Killing in the Name, The Kids Aren't All Right, Fortunate Son, We're Not Going to Take It. Do you hear the people sing? The Hand That Feeds, War Pigs, Crazy Train, Under Pressure, What's Up, Seven Nation Army, and then we got Proud Mary, Land of a Thousand Dances, Defying Gravity, and then my other songs we got Bella Ciao, Song of the Lower Classes, the Palestinian and Ukrainian national anthem. I think that's it, y'all.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, too, you were talking about discussion of things. It was back in the really early days. We put the Imperial March on there.
Right.
Yep. Because we thought it would be real fun to make everyone be like, "Whoa, wait, are the like politicians the Empire?" And that we don't think any of the people on the other side got the joke. So there was band discussion around that. And we've been generally having like try to make sure it's got a clear message. We cut Immigrant Song out of the votes because there were some concerns of like, oh, that's literally a song about Vikings going and colonizing everywhere, and that's not. And I looked into the history of it, and it pretty much is that in like their fantasy worldview, but in the band when they wrote that song, it kind of had that message. So we kind of took that one out. There is discussion around it, but like Burb said, it is largely through that forum and like weekly meetings and voting, which has been
Democracy.
great. Yeah, Discord is great for, especially now that there's a poll button. It's been
Absolutely.
great for, yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually interesting kind of going on to the whole, like, how did we arrive at our current set list? Because I want to say our original idea was like, can we get like 5 songs that are easy, right? Because our original intent was like, we want people who may not have picked up the instrument in, 20 years to be able to come in and start playing music. And we still do generally have that goal. But now that we actually kind of, shameless plug here, we have a concert coming up for free admission on October 25th, 10:30 a.m. at the Boulder Public Library. Be there or be square. And we obviously needed a larger repertoire for that. And so that's been, we basically doubled the size of our folders overnight, pretty much for that one. So we kind of, not all of the songs are easy to play. That's why we're having rehearsals for them. We want to make sure that everyone comes in prepared and that we sound, somewhat decent at the concert, and it's been going really well. Our stuff's sounding really great. Our members, even folks that joined literally today, there are a couple, they're sounding great. We got a whole bunch of folks that are just super excited to play all this music too. So, yeah.
Nice. No, that's awesome. I have to say that set list was much more contemporary than I was expecting, because I kind of have a conception, perhaps ill-advised, that like protest songs almost to me have an overlap with like folk protest music. When I think of like protest music or protest songs, some of the first stuff that comes in, well, like national anthems, for example, is a big one. I think of like Woody Guthrie or Pete Seeger or stuff like that. But Lemon, if I'm right, I believe that you're, currently in the process of kind of studying music. How would you define a protest song? What are the categories, or what are the characteristics that would get a song to be able to be on y'all's track list, for example?
Yeah, that's I've got in front of me right now. It's kind of a fun thing that you brought up folk music. I've got right in front of me the folk music textbook that I had for my class last semester.
Oh, nice.
I've
Okay.
got yeah, kind of what I would say the like ingredients of a protest song is generally a pretty clear political message. And then the other thing I think is making it so that it doesn't always need to be this, because you can, just blast something loudly from your speakers and annoy your parents. But a lot of good protest music is, I think, easily reproducible. It's easy for you to sing the chorus, even unaccompanied, and have everyone know what message you're getting along. So I think that kind of Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, I think that's very good protest music, because a whole lot of people had just, a guitar and their voice, and they could go and easily reproduce that wherever they were going. And I think for us, with our instrumentation being a huge band with a bunch of mostly monophonic wind instruments, it's a whole lot easier for us to kind of take, I think most of these are like pep band arrangements of these songs. It's a lot easier for us to get these arrangements from these more modern groups into our list than it would if all 45 members of the brass band were trying to pretend to be a guitar from Woody Guthrie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I do love all of that music, and it's I've got a little bit of what's the word? I've got a kind of unending grudge with people who think folk music and country music is a like really right-wing thing, or like it's always been, all of the good country music, at least in my opinion, has been a very kind of lower class, politically motivated stuff like that. I think the moment you get, that's getting into my kind of broader political theory on music, but I think once music gets into the hand of people in power and people who want to stay in power, you lose a whole lot of A, the political message, and B, a whole lot of creativity, because you're now afraid of making something that people don't like rather than making what you want to make.
For sure. I also want to add one thing too, going sort of to the question of like, why is a lot of our stuff like modern contemporary, which is that like, we're also not only, catering to the, very red-pilled, protest brained, show up to all activism events type of crowd. We also want to have a more, widespread audience and try to get more people who are on the fringes and might not be going to protests, but might be maybe interested in it, that kind of thing, or might not know the history or of these songs or know those songs, to actually come in and want to join and be like, hey, I know American Idiot, I know Holiday, that's Green Day, that's awesome, I love that, and where it might not be traditional protest music or protest songs, it's able to reach, we're able to cast a wider net and get more interest going, which can hopefully help increase, even in a small way, the number of folks showing up to these actions.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I could imagine, like you're saying, you want something that is, because, for example, I know a week from today, or I guess a week from yesterday, there is going to be another No Kings event. And those events do seem to draw in a lot of folks who, as you were saying, aren't the kind of like dyed in the wool, go to every protest, live and breathe activism kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're the kind of folks who have a free Saturday and they know Les Mis, or they should if they don't. So they'll recognize, can you hear the people sing and be like, oh, like this is part of the atmosphere, this is part of the whole thing. So I could imagine, like you were saying, you do want, it's not something that's like super esoteric, like deep cut, that like only people who have listened to, anarcho punk music for 25 years would know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I played a few of these. Oh, sorry, I played a few of these in my high school band. A few of these arrangements. So.
Well, I have no idea. So how does that work in terms of like licensing the music and purchasing the music? Like, do you guys, do you run into like copyright shit, or like how does that part of it work?
So I was gonna say I have a. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, because I'm pretty sure the way it works out, this is from like being the way I'm pretty sure copyright works is that you can, a lot of the times you can just kind of, as long as you pay for the license to the arrangement, then you can play the music. And as long as you're not actively making profit off of it, then you're not kind of gonna fall into a lot of the copyright stuff. So since we're a registered nonprofit now, I'm pretty sure we have, we're not making any money off of this. So we're not, if I remember right, that's not a copyright thing. Here, Nathan, I'm fumbling over this.
No, yeah, you're on the right track there. And the other thing to consider is basically that, like, we go and we actually, for a lot of the music, we purchase the professional arrangements for them. And when we purchase it, basically the agreement is we can play it at our venues, at our events, whatever. There's like a certain use cases that we can use it for within the realm of like making money, but we don't do it for that purpose. We're a nonprofit, right? So a lot of that we don't have to be concerned about. But the major thing is that we just can't necessarily like share the sheet music basically out of nowhere. We have to like make sure that we're getting it to our band members. We're not copying it uncopyrightably or whatever. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. And like basically making that we're not like spreading it around where we shouldn't be and that kind of thing. And then for some of the arrangements, a lot of them are written or at least arranged by individuals in the band. And I think at that point it does kind of go back to, we're not making money off of these arrangements. We're not trying to sell them. But either as arrangements or the actual, performances of them. And so the whole, like, we're not making money off of it thing really does cover a lot of our bases in general, as well as the fact that most of our arrangements are purchased, like, the official scores, and the ones that aren't are either, like secondhand scores where like someone else arranged it that was like amateur and arranger, or literally one of us arranged it. So.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to come after us, they need to go after every garage band, that's middle schoolers playing Smoke on the Water. It's that level
also true.
As far
exactly.
as copyright infringement goes.
Yeah. Well, give it time. You never know.
Yeah.
But, so what is, and again, this is coming from a place of ignorance, how much does this cost to license, to is it buying the arrangements? Is that sounds like what? like what does that run you guys for a given song? Like what is the kind of output?
Yeah, so it depends. Basically, when we go to the professional like pep band arrangements of some of the songs, we kind of have a choice. We can either just buy the like score, in which case we basically have to go and like mark down all of the individual parts ourselves and then distribute it that way, and that just takes a lot of time, but that'll be a lot cheaper. Or we can get the arrangements where like they actually send us not just the score but also like copies of the music. And so usually the first one will run us probably in the ballpark of like $60 to $70, and getting all of the parts with it usually will run us, depending on the piece, of course, anywhere from like $90 to $150 in that ballpark. It all really depends on the piece. The more popular pieces obviously tend to be more expensive. The more niche pieces tend to be a little cheaper.
And then like sometimes there's a website sale or something like that. That's a pretty good average.
Okay. No, that's good to know. So I'm a little curious, and Lemon, you were kind of hitting on this in one of your previous answers. You were mentioned your kind of unified theory of protest music, or however it was you phrased it. But what is the
something
history?
like that?
Yeah, well, that I do want to. I want to hear as much about that as you want to share, because that is fascinating. But what is the history of, like, you know, a live band at protests or at organizations? Or I guess to kind of narrow the aperture of the question a little bit, you know, how does Notes of Dissent fit in a kind of a broader historical context?
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
Asking us the real history questions. Who studied?
I know, Jesus Christ. I got the answer to life after this shit.
God, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because the thing is, I've got the unfortunately, my folk music class wasn't focused on much, especially modern day protests and their place. But I will say, if you know the Brothers of Brass band, they were kind of a big inspiration for me personally during the 2020 George Floyd protests. Those people here in Denver were very actively out on the streets. And if I wasn't a high schooler in the situation I was in back then I would have been, you know, right there with them, trying to not tell my parents where I was going every single night.
Sure.
And now that protesting has come back in that same sort of very large scale mass movement, and now that Burb has made a Discord server to get it all organized, I kind of came in swinging for that, because I've seen I think a whole lot of movements work a whole lot better when they have some sort of music involved. I think that's the reason we all love chants so much, or call and response chants, because at a very basic form, that is music. It's entirely rhythmic. You're never, you know, trying to sing a bass part to stand up, fight back. You're never trying to make a bass part to that, but it's got a rhythm to it, and they usually speed it up at the end, which is tons of fun. So even at a kind of core thing, walking down the street and chanting with everyone in unison is its own form of music. And I think being able to make those chants exciting, being able to make them memorable, being able to make it something you want to sing along to, rather than something that you are singing along to because your rights are on the line and I guess I have to do it, you know? And that's what I really like about it. I think this is stepping out of kind of the aperture, as you put it, of your question, because this isn't talking about specifically in marches, but for a whole long period of time, all of the kind of new and up and coming music has been up and coming music from people who were discriminated against and beaten up, or just lower classes. A whole lot of music, trying to think back to exactly what they called it. Oh my gosh, I can't remember it. In, you know, the movie Sinners, when they got into the house and they all started stomping on the ground in a big old dance, the reason that happened is because they weren't allowed to have drums. A lot of African American people, after being shipped here, tried to make their own drums like they had back in Africa, and they weren't allowed to. And the excuse was that everyone thought it was war drums and that they were getting ready to go to war because surely that's just what they got to do. I don't know if they actually believed that or if they were just making an excuse to take, the people they hated drums away. But the reason that they all had to organize in buildings with raised floors and stomp on the floors was because they didn't have any drums. So that was them remaking rhythm and putting a dance to it and making their own new type of music. When you think of like the beginning of jazz has a similar history, and the beginning of hip hop, it's people getting together and saying, well, they don't want us playing their fancy piano music. Let's make a new song. Let's make a new thing. Let's play around with these samples. So I think even if music doesn't carry a very political message, the birth of a whole lot of music is steeped in that politics. That's why I don't like any time I see someone in the jazz scene being like a little hateful. It's like, you know what, that's, where this music you're playing comes from. Like,
man,
I think
when did
part
Rage
of the
Against the
jazz
Machine
degree
become
should be-
political?
Right, yeah, when did Rage Against the Machine become political? Wow, I'm so sad.
Oh, I love those. I also wanted to hit on. Sorry, go ahead, Rod.
Oh no, I was just going to say. I mean, every musical genre has a history in some sort of political movement or a social movement of some sort. I know I was just watching one a while ago, but it was on PBS. It was about the history of disco. You're like, oh, disco, it's just dance.
Oh yeah.
Oh, holy shit! There was so much I learned about the scene behind disco and the people involved and what it meant. And if y'all have the
It's
PBS
really
passport,
wild.
you gotta watch that disco one.
Literally going back to the dawn of time, like the history of music is intertwined with the history of politics and art in general too. I mean, look back at even to the French Revolution and stuff like that. The art scene, and not just music, but like actual physical like painting and all of that had basically a renaissance during and after the French Revolution, because like art goes hand in hand with politics.
I've got
Yep.
After you're done, I've got an even older reference after you're done.
Awesome. Because the other thing I wanted to bring up, and this kind of ties back into your whole things with like jazz and that origin, is like, at least for me, one of the inspirations of this band is, thinking to like New Orleans, right? And how it's just so common to just see a random 5-piece brass band just walking down the street playing whatever, you know what I mean? Some jazz, some, anything really. And it makes so much sense when you think about it, that like any kind of action, you want eyes and ears on what you're trying to say. So why not get some attention with some good music, right? And normalize having random bands just be in the streets at all times. You know what I mean? Like that stuff's awesome.
Yeah. I'd say, for a few more weird examples, in my music history class right now, when, Lutheranism, the Lutheran Church, when Martin Luther broke off from it wasn't called the Catholic Church at that time because it was just the church. But when Martin Luther broke off, one of his big points was that he wanted the people to be able to join in his music. I forget if it was Luther or someone who came after him in that tradition, was very clear about wanting to make sure that the people could sing along to the music that was in the Mass every Sunday. So that's kind of where a whole lot of, if you ever go to church and you ever sing along in a congregation, that happened because someone back forever ago decided that they didn't want the church to be gatekeeping the music. They didn't want only the church to be able to understand the Latin lyrics. They wanted everyone to be able to sing along and know what they were singing. And then even if you get to the weird genres of music, like classical serialism, where it sounds like the weirdest thing you've ever heard, the serialist movement, that got really popular after World War II because all of the German composers were trying to make anything that didn't sound German because they were all horrified of what had happened in World War II. They were like, oh no, all my favorite German composers were used by the Nazi party, and I'm a German composer. So they would literally like roll a dice and then take that melody and then use 12-tone theory and serialism. Like a whole lot of new music happens for a political reason. There's always a message in why your music exists.
That is so for folks keeping at home. No, I was going to say for folks keeping score at home, that is officially the over on our Martin Luther references
Yes.
the Notes of Dissent podcast, which I was not expecting, but deeply thrilled to have landed there.
Notably, not Martin Luther King, but the other one,
the OG.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, spectacular.
Do you come back to Martin Luther often on these podcasts? Or?
You'd be the first one. I think this is the first, which, you know what, I think that we should make more room for Martin Luther in our political discourse. I say that partially joking and partially sincerely.
I like the part where he nailed his list of just complaints about everything to
Oh my God, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Absolutely.
Go off.
I mean, this is not my original joke, but I've heard it said that Martin Luther was the first shit poster. Which,
yes. I love it.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So
just real quick, a lot of people too, they're like, oh, we want to join and we play an instrument, but we don't own one. Well, we actually have a couple of loaner instruments for the more common stuff. We have like a flute, we have an alto sax, a clarinet available to loan, and we have a couple of percussion instruments. We got a bass drum and a quad just sitting around collecting dust for the moment. So, I mean, if you play one of those instruments, come say hi.
You were talking like long-term and short-term goals. Yeah. It was one of our goals for a while to be able to get an actual Notes of Dissent battery. Yeah, that we could have as the bands.
And that would be so good.
Yeah.
We're actually getting there. We're getting there now. Like we actually just had a rehearsal earlier today where we had basically all of the drums, all of the percussionists that we know, basically all together in one room. And oh my God, it was awesome.
That was so nice.
Good.
Oh my God.
Oh, the sound is so powerful. It was amazing. But yeah, we could always use more.
If people want to get involved with Notes of Dissent, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yeah, so we actually have a link tree that we can share with you to put in, I guess, the description or whatnot. So check there in the doobly-doo. To join, we have a Discord server. That's probably the best way to get involved in our community. Everyone's active on there, and that's where we post a lot of our stuff. We also have an email newsletter that we send out somewhat irregularly, but we try to get it once every couple of weeks. That'll have some of the upcoming stuff for that. And then we do have a band email, notes.of.dissent.mb@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with our leadership team directly.
Awesome.
And then, of course, all of the socials. Well, most of the socials. At least Instagram and Threads, I think, are the two main ones right now.
Those will all be on the link tree, yeah?
Also true, yes.
And I take it just based on how it sounds like the tenor of this organization is run. If somebody wanted to just like literally walk up to you at one of the protests, be like, I want to join this, that would be an avenue for them to join as well.
Absolutely. And we have had that happen multiple times.
Lot, yeah.
And we actually just got to the point, I was really pushing for this. And so we actually finally got there where we have music folders to just loan out to people for events.
Yeah.
So if someone comes up and they're like, hey, I play trumpet. Can I just grab like your third trumpet part? I'll be like, here you go. Here's the third trumpet folder. Give it back at the end of the event. But like, if someone comes up and they have their instrument and they want to join us, we have the music for them. So like, yeah, it's pretty great.
Awesome. Well, you guys have all been incredibly generous with your time. Thank you so much. I do just want to say sincerely that the work that you guys do is so cool, and what you've been able to construct from whole cloth is genuinely inspiring. To see it again, just kind of from my audience's seat, to see it germinate and grow into what it is now is really, really a sight to behold. So thank you all so much for the work that you put in. I want to close with what is each of yours favorite protest song, and why is that song your favorite?
Like in general, or that we play?
Take it as you will. Although I'm curious to hear both.
I guess I can start here. I'm actually going to go with Bella Ciao. Nothing to do with the big news that happened a while ago at all. But the
I got so worried about that.
I know.
Yeah,
that was
not to
that
get
was
derailed,
awkward.
but what was the deal with that? Like, why do you what's the relationship with that?
If I remember right, it's because it has to do with the Groyper people, yeah?
Yeah, it's the Groypers basically. It's a far right meme that basically they'll take over like leftist symbols and things like that and try to like co-opt them for their own as a meme basically.
Got it.
And yeah, Bella Ciao was one of those things, but nothing to do with any of that. Bella Ciao just as a song in general, one, I love the history of it in terms of the anti-fascists in Italy and the partisans, and how that was it literally turned from a folk song into an international symbol of protests and anti-fascism, literally globally. And I had actually never heard about it until we found an arrangement for it that was very like jazz, not jazzy, but like it was like 8 measures long or 16 measures long, and it was just like repeated and just jam on it. It was like a jam arrangement. But a lot of our members might not be confident enough in music to be able to play like that. So I went and I basically rearranged it myself to actually fit as a legitimate, like you start at the beginning, you end at the end arrangement. And it's actually grown into one of my favorite pieces that we play. I think it's really fun. It really brings the crowd into it, whether or not they know the history or the song itself. It's just a fun one to, tap your foot along to, and it's really fun to play. And it sounds really good. And yeah, I love it. It's got a special place in my heart.
We cannot let them steal Bella Ciao from you guys.
Exactly. That's
right.
It's so good. I love it. It's my favorite.
So they can get it out of my cold dead hands.
Exactly.
That bass line is too fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
That's an incredible song to rip out on clarinet.
Oh my god, yes.
That feels like such a perfect high notes on clarinet sort of thing. So
it's funny that the theme song to this show is actually kind of like a chopped and screwed Bella Ciao. We asked like the community to source intro music, and it has some germination in it. I'm not exactly sure where, because like I said, it's redone. I fucking love our theme song, to be honest, but there's Bella Ciao DNA within it for sure.
Love that.
So yeah, Lemon, what about you? What's your favorite protest song, either to play or of all time, or both?
That's the thing. It's always a bad thing for a musician to get asked their favorite song, because I've been sitting here thinking about like 20 different songs. I think in the context of a protest song, it's one I saw we just added it to our repertoire recently, called "Which Side Are You On?" And
fucking love that song.
It's got history from the Union. Well, not from the Union. It's got history from union movements and workers' rights stuff. And the thing I really love about it, it's essentially a lead sheet for all of the jazz musicians in the audience. It's got a chorus, the "Which side are you on? Which side are you on?" and then verses in between it, which means that you can teach the crowd how to sing along to that chorus in however long it takes to sing the chorus. It's that memorable. You can sing it to them once, have them sing it back to you once, and they'll all have it as the chorus they can sing along to. And then the verses, they can be whatever you want them to be. You can sing the original verses. You can make a new verse that's relevant to our modern day. And then we were seeing, do you two remember, was it Gora Gora Orchestra that was playing along with that with Jamie 505? Wait, were either of you two at the Jeanette visual?
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's been a minute. It was them.
Okay, it's been a minute. I think they took that song or a song a whole lot like it, and they ramped it up real slowly, and then they got the whole band involved and made it some sort of kind of a Dixieland sort of feel.
Yes.
And gave it such a good energy, and then cut everyone off and had just the vocal line sing it at the end. And that has great theme. It's great because it has that protest song ability to get everyone involved, standing up and yelling it out and getting involved in the message.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty catchy, I'll be darned.
Oh boy, is it ever. Yeah, that's fantastic song. Burp, how about you?
I don't know if we're allowed to swear on here, so I said darn.
Please, no, please, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Again, like anytime you ask, at least any musician, and at least for me, ask me 20 times a day what my favorite song is in any particular thing, I'm going to give you 20 different answers.
Sure.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna stick to probably my favorite like general protest song would be 16 Tons because it's a great song, and I would love to be able to, if we actually had a good not good, but a larger vocalist group and a lot more clarinets. I would love to be able to play that, but we need
more clarinets. Yeah.
We need more clarinets.
If we ever do the standing pep band, I can bring mine, but
yes,
I can't get that on the Barry everywhere. So
we need somebody with a good deep voice too, and the vocalist too. But I would probably say in general that's my favorite.
Hey, I have a good deep voice, and I'm in the vocalists.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm doing the bass part for Song of the Lower Classes.
Nice.
I hope my voice is good.
No, I'm not in the.
That one's good too. That one's good too.
I do like that one too. It's we have a good arrangement for it too. I'm excited. So
yes, yeah. I did not go to that practice because I sound like a screeching bird when I sing. So but I do love that song. Out of our playlist, oh geez, I like them all for different reasons. I can't really. Oh, I guess
they are all pretty good.
If I said they're all, I love all of our songs equally, like children. So, but I guess I have a little bit of favor just for Killing in the Name because that was one of our first ones that we did, and
that's like a calling card now.
It's
a classic.
Yeah.
And I think it's I guess it's a little bit sentimental to me because I think during the first big march, it was the one that I kind of cried with happiness just seeing everybody play and the crowd reaction to everything after that song. So, yeah, I'm going to pick that one out of the songs that we play.
Hell yeah.
Killing in the Name is beautiful. If you can get the audience to sing along with it too.
Yes.
That one's...
Slightly on topic of that, like I really, really wish that there was a good arrangement for Bulls on Parade because I think that has some of the most topical lyrics to this day.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yes.
But the lyrics are just so like applicable, and it's in a way that really truly does suck. But like, it's also
called Bulls on Parade. I don't think
Bulls
I know
on
that
Parade.
one.
Yeah, it's another Rage Against the Machine song. And let me see if I can spit some verses here for you. But it's like, weapons, not food, not homes, not shoes, not need, just feed the war cannibal animal. I walk to the corner that used to be the library, walk into the mine cemetery now. You get the idea. It's like, it's extremely topical to this day. And, it was made in the 90s, which is insane. But there's just it's not a good one for like our type of band to be able to play, unfortunately. But that's one that if we could, I would love that one just because the lyrics are so topical.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Rage has some great stuff. Burb, you mentioned the feeling of that movement, or feel crying when you heard a mass group of people playing. Like the song always gets me. Like, dog, if you put on Solidarity Forever and there's more than like
yeah
it, I'm gone. I'm crying immediately. Like that's so I totally feel you on that. It was never new and it never gets old, and it's a folk song. It's just fuck, man.
Yeah.
What can you say? Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, I want to be respectful of y'all's time. Thank you all sincerely for your time today, for the work that you do. I very much look forward to seeing y'all out there in the streets. Best of luck at this upcoming concert. We will link to the description in the show notes. But yeah, I just want to say once again, thank you all so much for the time. This has been a great conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right. See you guys out there.
From all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell, of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies, 'cause poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?